I started off in Richmond, Virginia. That's where I originally got hired. And from there, I went to LaGuardia Airport in New York City, and I left Richmond about a year ago. So it's been a good journey so far.
I'm joined now by Darian Malarcher, an Army veteran who served in Kosovo and is now an HR representative at Avis Budget. And by Eric Gilcher, a Navy veteran who served in Afghanistan and is currently a district manager at Avis Budget. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us,
Thanks
Chief.
for having us.
So tell me a little bit about your military experience and how you were able to transition into a career at Avis.
Well, my experience, I was in the Navy for 4.5 years, joined in right after high school. Felt that I wasn't mature enough to go right into college, so I figured going into the military to learn some disciplines and some skills would be best for me. The biggest thing that I could say about my military career is I loved every minute of it. It made me the person I am today, the father I am today, so I had no regrets. The only reason I got out is because my wife asked me to, so, it was, you had leadership, but then you know who the real leader is. So.
I love it.
No, I come from a long history of service to our country. I have uncles that have been in the Marines, Air Force, Army. My in-laws as well have both served. So for me, I was really looking for an opportunity to kind of get into the military, and college didn't work out for me right away when I first went. So similar to Eric, I was looking for something where I could get some structure. Some of the skills that the military gave me, though, when you look at soft skills in terms of discipline, you talk about honor, integrity, selfless service, some of the Army Corps values, I think they readily translated to me for lots of different employers. And at Avis Budget, those are the types of things that are I think, honored in things that they look for. They want employees that have integrity, that get the big picture.
Were there difficulties in the transition into civilian life?
There were a few difficulties. I think the military is very fast-paced. There's things are executed very quickly. Sometimes in the civilian world, there's a lot more red tape with different issues. And so I think adjusting to that and realizing that there's a different pace, but the end goals are the same. So once you kind of understand that.
And somebody like me, the hardest thing about the transition is the not knowing. Not knowing when you're going to find a job, what you're going to find a job doing, what do you do after the military? Because it's very structured, where sometimes you don't even have to think. You got somebody that's thinking for you, you just do what you're told. Where when you transition to that role, you got to be your own person and be out there, and just that not knowing is probably the biggest thing about the transition.
What skills do you think that you have from the military that have helped you in your career?
My biggest one, that when you start to get rank within the military, you start getting put in leadership roles, whether you're young, old, educated or not, it's when you get into that role and that rank, you're a leader. You have people that are looking to you for guidance and to make decisions. And when you learn that and you really can hone in on that and you bring that to a team of managers that I lead and employees that I lead, it's not that I'm the boss. I'm the team leader, and we're all a team, so we want to make sure that we keep that team atmosphere and team together.
I would echo that same sentiment. I think teamwork is a huge deal with the military. We talk about family and brotherhood. Oftentimes, there's a Hollywood perception of, I'm doing this for the flag and for my country, but honestly, when you're on deployment, you're there for the man next to you, the person who is right in the foxhole with you. And I think Avis Budget has mirrored a family-like atmosphere. Worked very closely with my human resources manager, my director. I'm in a great team atmosphere, a good family environment. I think secondly, and it's just hugely, I think, underrated in a lot of companies, is attention to detail. Attention to detail is practiced and taught all throughout the military, all the branches. The battles and missions are won and executed in details. We do after action reviews and things like that to kind of go over the mission. Well, we do the same thing in the business world. And taking attention to detail, which is all throughout the military, that's a skill that could absolutely be utilized at all companies, but definitely at Avis Budget.
So that's great advice to viewers in the military who are watching about the skill sets that they don't even necessarily know they possess. What else would you tell them if they're interested in transitioning into the corporate world about how to best go about it?
Well, for me, when I was in Kosovo, it was a peacekeeping mission. So it's a little different than Afghanistan, which was where Eric was at. So in Kosovo, you do a lot of joint operational things, so joint task force. And I think that's similar when you get into the business world of working on different multiple teams with people. You look at Avis Budget, oftentimes we get partnered with organizational development or maybe safety team, distribution. While when I was in Kosovo, I had to do joint operations and missions with some Russian troops, with Spain, with United Arab Emirates. And so you're learning to communicate in a different way. So, they might not speak English, but they still speak military, for lack of a better term, in terms of here's what we're guarding today, here's what we're overwatching, here's who we're escorting. And so there's those same obstacles that you face at Avis Budget or any corporation. So kind of learning and finding some middle ground to be able to communicate with them. Because if you don't find that middle ground, which is what we do in the military all the time, you're going to create obstacles for yourselves. And so that's another skill that I ascertained on that peacekeeping.
And I would just say is just have confidence, because when you're transitioning from the military into the corporate world, 99% of the time you've done harder things in the military than that transition really is going to be. So don't let the fear get to you. Just have the confidence. I mean, when I interview people that are prior military and stuff like that, I look for that confidence, and let them know, like, hey, I did it. I made district manager with an Avis budget group within a 3-year time period, where most of my peers have been with the company 17, 18 years. And it all just took hard work. So it's just confidence is the biggest thing I would tell somebody that's transitioning out. Just have confidence in yourself and in your abilities.
So life in the corporate world is nothing compared to what you guys have been through. So thanks for sharing that important information with us from Avis Budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay with us for a special segment we taped last fall. A look at Get Skills to Work, a unique hiring initiative for veterans, led by GE.